Infernal Shrines, we are in the in the losers bracket, sorry. We are in the lower bracket. I gave those two a little bit too much credit right now. We got Team Rip against Rospierdol. So, another best of 5 series. The winner moves on to the losers bracket final. So we're slowly starting to approach the top 3 area here. And which team is going to take it here? I'm going to figure that out in a moment. Now, if I'm correctly informed, then Rospierdol is actually going to swap one of their players out. I'm not... Like, somebody talked that they had to swap out one of their players. So after the draft is probably going to end a little bit abruptly on the last pick, and then we're going to go and swap one of the players out. Apparently there's a little bit of a time constraint on one of them, and they have to swap that out. But as we are heading into the game, the same as usual, we are in a situation where every single hero that you play cannot be played again. So as we're moving through a best of 5, slowly and steadily that hero pool gets reduced. We've had plenty of good picks still. The whole idea is not really to force teams into some crazy stuff. What we're trying to accomplish is to simply make sure that it's not too boring for the audience. You don't want to see the same hero being played over and over again. We're incentivizing teams, of course, with the bounty system to play some out-of-the-box heroes as well. You can see the bounties here, but this is all optional. This is not something that the teams are forced into. If they are going for bounties and they're trying to complete some of them, then they get points, and those points will allow them to dip into a second prize pool and get some extra money out of it. But obviously, by definition, going for any of these is a handicap. It's you going for something where there is an alternative that is stronger. So, as you are going into game number 4, game number 5, you know, maybe one of those things is super attractive, and it's the best thing that you can actually pick in that certain situation. But generally speaking, these are handicaps. This is optional picks. They are not something that we force on the teams, but they can go for them. And we had some teams absolutely embrace it. Others that they were a little bit more on the like, yeah, we're probably not going to do anything here. We're going to focus on a potential tournament victory and the prize money that we can get through those means. But again, keep that in a bit in mind as we're progressing through the event now. Jojo as a first pick for Infernal Shrines. Again, you want to have a lot of AoE. You want to have a lot of control over the shrines whenever those fights pop up. We now have on top of that the typical... Well, typical is maybe a little bit too much, but we have seen a lot of Medivh bans recently. We've also seen some decent Medivh picks, and usually when the team is coordinated well around him and his portals, the impact is huge. We get Blaze, and we got Hanzo. So, yeah, with Blaze, you can just start burning things up on the shrines once again. Maiev banned out against the red team. And still, Dehaka is a good alternative if you're now looking for another side laner that you can play here. It's game number 1, so obviously it depends a little bit on what you actually want to do here. Dehaka, Leo, plenty of heroes around. They go for Dehaka. You have the global together with him as well. We get Junkrat. And yeah, then over on the left, the big question is just simply, what are they going to try and ban out now? With Junkrat already taken, you now have the damage from the outside. You can just lob grenades over. You also have, of course, then the trap. So you have Dehaka with some CC, Johanna with the Blessed Shield, with the Condemn, with the slows. Just a matter of what exactly the follow-up is going to be for them. Anduin gets banned. And every single time that I see an Anduin ban, there's a couple of reasons on why Anduin could get banned. One is obviously that you're afraid that your opponent is using some light bomb combo. Most of the time that happens with Genji. Or you are just trying to go for either Stitches or for Varian. Anduin is surprisingly good against Varian. I'm not quite sure if it's because he has some daddy issues or what's going on there. But he is a little bit of a counter thanks to him just being able to pull targets out of Varian's taunt. Maybe because Anduin has been dealing with those taunts all his life, and for very good reason. I mean, wouldn't you make fun of that hairstyle? I definitely would have, if that was my son or not. That hairstyle is an invitation in my eyes. So Anduin had to deal with that for a long time, so he developed some natural tools against those taunts and against the plays that are associated with them. So if you want to go for a play like that, banning out Anduin makes sense. Do they do that here? I don't know. We'll see. They go for Diablo and they go for Brightwing. Okay. But with Diablo, you still have some nice stuns. There's a lot of CC on their end. Lots of CC there. And then over on the right side, well, final 2 picks as well. To be fair, I'm saying like there's a little bit of a counter with Anduin to Varian. Varian also has some very well-veiled taunts that he practiced over the years, and he is still the mother of all taunts for Anduin. You were an accident. No! So, yeah. If that doesn't get Anduin's blood boiling, then nothing ever will. And yeah, this has worked in the past. So we get Ana. Alright. Ana, I guess with a boost on Junkrat and Tychus. I have to admit that the final 2 picks here, yeah. That's that Sleep Dart as well. That leaves us with Cesarboss. And the final pick for the blue team, ladies and gentlemen, as we're heading into game number 1 on Infernal Shrines.
Let's fly.
Let's go! Game number 1. We are on Infernal Shrines. On the left side, we got Mark Hotzel on Diablo. We got Bal on Brightwing, Bronick on Hanzo. Cesarboss is playing Falstad. And Itrax is playing Blaze and is now subbing in for the team. As far as I understood though, they have to swap him out after the first map. So apparently they have a few issues today with who's playing for the team. They wanted to have a sub, but yeah, there are some scheduling problems. I'm not quite sure what exactly is going on there, but they're now playing this one with Itrax, but he might be swapped out for map number 2. Over on the right side, we get Krankle for Team Rip. We got Basilisco on Ana, Sven on Dehaka, Erath on Tychus, and Azzy is playing Junkrat. Would have loved to see an auto attack for Tychus. I'm not sure why, but I honestly enjoy auto attack builds for Tychus. It's always a bit of a weird thing because, again, at the end of the day, obviously, as a player in a tournament like this, you should always play what's the strongest. And I'm not saying that the auto attack is better. I'm not sitting here saying like, oh my god, they're playing the wrong build. I'm just saying I like watching it when it gets played. I think it's kind of fun to watch. But obviously with the proper grenade build, the amount of damage output that you have there, it's meta for a very good reason. So some damage already done down at the bottom of the map. They were able to take down hit points on the towers and the gates. With Ana and the Pew Pew over here, we have a grenade build with contact healing on level 1. And yeah, at the top, our one-on-one lane is slowly getting established here. So let's go. Oh, the camps are up and they're actually making their first play for natural camp here. Okay. Diablo. Getting pushed around a little bit. Ana, yeah, was targeting her. The sleep dart there was awesome, but they still get the kill on Brightwing. The fruit fly has been slapped around. Okay. Brightwing is gone. And yeah, only that fruit fly is a good fruit fly. I can completely endorse that. So, kill them all. Yeah. I actually had some ants outside too the other day. That's always another thing that kind of freaks me out. I'm not really like insects are fine. I just don't want them in my in my place. Like this is something where it's like no matter if it's like ants, obviously depending on where I live here too, like cockroaches is the biggest nightmare. But fruit flies, all of that stuff, the occasional spider, who cares? But every single time that you have anything that is threatening to invade, I'm just like, no! Go outside. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are also horrible. So yeah, thank God that there's actually like really good mosquito net solutions these days too and all of that stuff. But, boah. All of that stuff needs to stay outside. I'm a fan of nature. As long as I can get away from it too. And have my peace and quiet then. So, yeah. We got 1 kill, the only one against Brightwing earlier. Now with level 4 talents, we get Master Assassin. Down at the bottom of the map, the first shrine about to pop up. And since they already took that wall out, if they're now getting the objective, there's a very good chance that they are having a shot at taking that fort out, or at least dropping it very, very low. Hanzo is already flying around here. And Krankle is coming in. Yeah, they get the... I mean, they have the AoE here pretty quickly, but we have a global on each side. And Falstad and Dehaka are still both sitting at the top because of the Shaman camp that has been taken. So it makes this a 4 versus 4 battle. The problem for the red team is that they don't have their side laner. They have only Jojo at the front. 1 damage dealer is missing for the blue team, which I suppose makes her a bit safer in that situation. But the red team at least is able to get a massive advantage on the stacks. So they're sitting on 27 to 12. Get the early level 7 talent too, which is another nice advantage. And now the blue team is just giving up on the first objective and decided that it's time to fall back and let that one go. Sins Exposed is in. And now the easy pressure through the bottom of the map on this one. Alright. Punisher slowly moving in too. And it's going for the big boy jump. And his name is John Cena. Yeah, wants a piece of the action here. And, well, down at the bottom of the map, now that they are okay, the defenders are coming in. The attacker still very heavily split on the map, so actually, no, they're gonna get the fort. Yeah, they're gonna get it. Nice. They opened the wall up early, as I said, and now they're gonna get the fort here. So good for them. First objective, 1 fort already down. That's a bit of a win already. Talking about wins, does anybody know if the new Superman movie is a win? It just came out, and honestly, I haven't seen it yet, and I've heard really mixed stuff. A lot of people seem to be happy with it. A lot of people say it's too much of a James Gunn movie, but I'm still a little bit on the fence if I want to check it out or not. But yeah, it seems like a lot of people actually think that it's a good one. But again, if anybody has already checked that out, would be nice to hear some opinions before I actually go. All the way up at the top, we're now having Sven still. They have not moved. The entire time they were just locked in this. Normally, you would at least at some point expect them to make a play at towards the bottom. But I suppose with how quickly the red team was able to get the stacks together for the Punisher, they decided that they just would let that one slide. And are playing for the next one. Losing that fort hurts a bit. The passive experience increase in and of itself is already, yeah, a little bit of a win. But now Dehaka is gone. Okay, so Dehaka has been eliminated. Finally a kill for Rospedol as well. Blaze is about to claim the next... Well, actually, he's not about to. He's still going to have a lot to do before he takes this one. But they have level 10 abilities. That is a very, very small gap, though. So this could be... If Falstad flies down... That's a bit too late. He takes the camp. Okay, fair enough. I was for a moment thinking, could they maybe make him play? Can they possibly try and delay it a little bit with Junkrat, get Falstad in, and then... Yeah, I don't know. But not really. So, instead we get the APOC engage. They're making the move, and they're getting no kill. Nope. Basilisco is fine, but the jet propulsion... Oh my god! The Juke Master! What a god! Granny just juked out Blaze. Johanna still died, and now they get a kill on Blaze as well, thanks to Junkrat. Beautiful play here. So it's a kill for a kill at the end of the day, but that was a little move that we just seen here. I like that. Look at this. Damn. Yeah, good for Anna. Good for Anna. So, 2 kills to 2. Still that 1 fort taken out. And I suppose this is a little bit of a moment of truth situation that we have the second objective. If now Team Rip walks away with another Punisher, that would be amazing for them. And honestly, now that they take Hanzo down here in the middle, and maybe even Diablo, it seems like this is another fantastic start for Team Rip into objective number 2. Not really great when you are a fan of Rospiadol, because, yeah, Dibbles is back because he lost the stacks on his baseline. But Hanzo is going to be down for another 8 seconds. So an early start on the Shrine that is going to get them... Maybe even the entire Punisher. I'm not quite sure how willing the blue team is to dive into this and try and force the issue here. But given the lead, they might just fall back. Because the problem is, of course, that they would have to push into Odin. On top of everything else. So, yeah, a little bit of damage done. Gate down, tower down. That's exactly what you want if you're looking to play with another Punisher for the next fort of the game. Brightwing is now down at the bottom of the map, and we have to push through the middle as well. So some counter pressure from Rospedol as they're starting to take a few of the structures out in the process. They kick in with level 13. Both of the teams are going to have that in a moment, but for now it's... Yeah, there it is. Initially it was only the red team running that advantage. But the Punisher is going to be claimed very easily again by Team Rip. So they are in, again, a pretty decent spot to take out fort number 2. And just on the passive experience, that's gonna be annoying. Passive XP currently is like 1,000 extra experience points for Team Rip. If they take a second fort out, that is obviously gonna be accelerated. currently, this makes for a big chunk of the difference between the two teams. And then, of course, on top of that, the hero XP. Nice arrow, maybe a little bit short, but they got good damage in. They are not able to get that kill, though. Tychus, yeah, he needs to be careful too. Gust is used. Punisher is already on the fort. Here comes the Riptire, but it gets eliminated before it can completely blow up. And now at the top, they're going to push for the objective. It's an Arcane Punisher here. They're going to do some solid work on this. Decent defense with the bait in initially, because there was also no immediate pressure. So they're not going to get the fort right away, but it's so low that they should be able to take it later on. So, yeah. Fort is already gone, and that's the second one. I thought they would be able to hold it for a little bit longer, but yeah, no, not quite. So, the next camp about to be claimed all the way up at the top. We now have down at the bottom the next camp about to be taken. So they're working on pretty much all the camps that they can access here, extend the lead and experience even further. With now 2 lanes pushing against Rospedol, that also means that there's of course 2 lanes where they won't be able to access a fountain all that easily. They will always have to dip into the middle in order to grab that. Falstad with 23,000, same number as Hanzo has. And then 27,000 on the side of Tychus. But they're coming in again, trying to go for maybe Hanzo here. Jojo though gets bullied around and turns it around with a blessed shield. Brightwing, I don't think they saw Brightwing moving on, but that could have been a kill on Brightwing. Instead, they're going for Diablo first. There's no fountain here. Not sure what that Odin play was supposed to do, because all they had to do was move away from it. So that cooldown was maybe not quite necessary, but they can still use Odin to siege up in the middle a bit. That would have also been possible if they just moved there right away. I suppose they're going to get that fort. So it's not a waste of null. But they have level 60 now. They took the fort out. That means all of the forts destroyed. Rospedol is losing lots of ground here. To be fair, this reminds me a little bit, I'm not quite sure if you checked this out, but when it was the Freedom Exporters playing on this map, and it was a similar situation where the red team was taking out structure after structure. The Freedom Exporters essentially won nothing. And then at some point in the late game, just before they were about to lose the game, they won a single fight on the objective, grabbed the objective, and then just barreled down the lane and absolutely destroyed everything in their path and took it. So yeah, you can always start a comeback here if your opponent all of a sudden gets wiped. So should never count that out. Currently though, the blue team is having some problems. And this is being exacerbated by pushes like this one down at the bottom of the map. It forces Idrax to defend here, but the catapult has already done a bit of work. They are also hoping, or were hoping, to maybe catch them going for a camp or something such. Level 16 is now available for both teams on the other hand, so not really a big deal. But if you can force the fight with a level 16 advantage over your opponent, I mean, fantastic. That's not quite what happened, but, well, there we are. So, Shrine at the bottom of the map, and, well, this is exactly the problem that I highlighted earlier. Now, you are up against an opponent that has a fountain in the middle, and at the bot lane, you don't have a fallback option. Doesn't mean you can't win the fight. Makes it a little bit more difficult, though. Gives just more option to the opponent's team, but they still have to battle this one out. Oh. Blaze, yeah. Missing a jet propulsion is always putting you into an awkward spot where you kind of overextend slightly. And then you're the one that gets attacked. So now we have a few more minion stacks taken out. They already have 19-5, and Odin is of course back. Falstad wants the gust and hits Granny, but she gets away from the APOC, and Hanzo's arrow didn't connect either. The follow-up was strong enough though, and even Diablo survived. So without the Haka here, there was a forced 5 versus 4, and they did well on it. Anna juked out most of the things, but eventually she was hit, and they followed up on it with a kill. So now we got the red team still trying to get some value. Riptire is there. He's going to try and get more stacks for them. They got 34-27 now. The Haka is of course saying hello now too and assisting the team in trying to grab the objective. It's a Frozen Punisher overall. They're getting dangerously close, but the Haka nearly dying. 36-39, and the red team takes it. Ooh! Blaze! Dude, that was clutch. Blaze and Dehaka both were nearly annihilated in that last play. Both of them mega low and then able to move out, but whew. They're still trying to push this a bit. They got the entire team back up on the map, and Anna is now also moving in. They won't be able to get a keep here, but again, if you can just open up the wall or do some damage, that would be amazing. And them already using Odin now is, of course, allowing them to easily break through this. Oh, beautiful drag. And the arrow completely missing through the gap. Diablo is gone. He'll be back. He lost the soul stacks, so they might actually get more out of that fight than I initially expected them to. They're baiting the Punisher towards the top, though, so that's well done. But the wall is fully opened up. They got some damage in on the keep. And really, really nice kills. 6 kills, 2-3. The more important part is the 2-level difference between the two teams, at least from the perspective of Team Rip. And level 20 will, of course, be a huge asset to Team Rip in the next fight. And might lead to Rospedol giving up an objective. There's no way they're going to get level 20 for the next objective. So I'm not sure if they're still going to be willing to fight into this because they think they have to. Or if instead they're just saying, leave it. We'll defend with level 20 instead. And do that. So right now, with the 20 talents, we get the Apex Predator for Dehaka. We get Blessed Shield upgrade. And they are starting to siege up at the top lane to open up this wall. They know that they're going to get the objective later there, or that the chances of them grabbing it are at least very big, very high. So they want to open this up if they can. And with level 20, there's no problem with you just sieging up on that slowly. There's very little insta-kill potential that we're seeing from Rospedol. Unless obviously we're talking about someone like Junkrat all of a sudden getting ganked up, but he just needs to stay a little bit farther away here. So we get the Nano Infusion, big red button obviously, Cannonball, and now that they've taken most of this out, yeah, they can still siege up on that keep a little bit further, but also always some opportunities maybe in the middle, try and flank in on someone. Level 19 versus level 20 right now, objective hasn't been announced yet. I'm actually going to get closer on this than I thought. This always happens. I always underestimate how much experience a team can get on Infernal Shrines when they are put into very defensive positions and the minion waves are just being pushed out. So this is actually getting way closer than I thought, and Rospedol might be able to fight for the next objective. At least at this point, I'm honestly expecting it. They have False Set at the bottom of the map, so they're soaking all of the lanes. They have the vision, in most cases, on the opponent. Birdie needs to be a bit careful here. But with the camp now taken, he's immediately back on the lane, and they're going to grab the experience for level 20. Definitely in time to fight for the next Punisher, 100%. So right now, we have them still holding the top lane as best as they can. There's some extra damage on that keep already, but yeah, they are not going to get more hit points out of this. And there's level 20, that gives us the Invisible Friends. We get Bullseye. And yeah, with that, we're ready and good to go. Dehaka still defending at the bot lane a bit. Still the reminder that there's not a single fort that has been destroyed yet on the red team side. And this will be important for Rospedol. If they lose this one, yeah, you're gonna be in trouble. Blaze, for a second, Blaze was holding back his ult. I'm like, what are you gonna do here? It's gonna be fortified bunker, and we all know it. You don't have to play coy with us. We all know what that talent's gonna be. False that... What? Were they trying to force the fight with a gust? That seemed a bit telegraphed here. So nobody was falling for that. Now the fly is off. They're even getting the grenade in. Yeah, False that loses a decent chunk of its HP. So that's already good for them. The gust can still come if he positions, but he can't just simply fly over anymore. There's already the APOC. Okay, Granny still fine. Still trying to turn this around. And Junkrat moved out of the shrine now. So they're looking not too bad. The red team is actually in a decent spot. And now they get the Dragon False. Then they take the birdie down. False that is eliminated. They're chasing on the rest of the team too. And they can easily collapse onto Blaze and get a second kill. So that's 8 kills to 3. It's a guaranteed objective for them. And they're even following up on Diablo. While at the bot lane, for example, we're having now more damage done here on the keep. They're chasing Hanzo, but they want to take this fort out as much as possible. Diablo is attempting to buy themselves a little bit of time, but this is obviously not a good spot for Rospedol to be in. They are again in a spot where they have to wait another half minute. The objective is about to be claimed. The fort, the keep is losing hit points. Bot lane had to be defended. So that's a nightmare. They might even lose the entire keep before the objective is even there. Arcane Punisher's now on his way, but they are gonna try and go for game here. And they have their ults back in just a couple of seconds, and on top of that, you have Odin. So, yeah. They're gonna bait it in the middle. That's at least gonna be the attempt. But this is gonna be painful one way or another. Falstad flying, and it does not connect with Ana. Ana is still fine, but Junkrat gets killed. The counter kill on Diablo, it's not happening. Nope, Diablo is still alive and kicking, but the Punisher is jumping in, and then the condemned follow-up from Jojo. Diablo is dead, losing his stacks again, back in a moment, but the aggression continues. Catapult doing keep damage at the bottom of the map. Now the mid lane is getting attacked too. Punisher is about to be defeated. Did not take out Hanzo. There's so much that is happening here. The core is losing hit points. The keep in the middle has fallen. The keep at the bot lane has taken more and more damage. But without Junkrat, the red team is falling back here. They don't want to risk anything, and for good reason. They are in such a decisive position that they can take this a little bit slower. There's some damage on the core. There is more that happened down at the bottom of the map. All the lanes are pushing. They haven't lost a fort yet. So they can slowly play this one out. Which is what they should do. So, we'll see. Right now, we got 65,000 damage for Hanzo. We got 80,000 damage for the Tigers. And then Junkrat with also pretty much 60k. So good for him. I mean, at least Rospedal got another kill there. That was actually important. Oh, the Blessed Shield. Missing Brightwing. A bit of a risky one. The arrow connects. Oh my god, nice. Why the Gust, though? They get Junkrat, okay, and they get Ana. But for a second, I really thought the Gust would ruin the play completely. But now Ana is gone, and that double kill for the blue team all of a sudden puts them into a really nice push. So, yeah. The Gust was maybe a little bit questionable at the time when it came through, but they still got the double kill and are finally able to make a little bit of headway in this game. Huh. Is there a chance for a comeback? I suppose there always is, but can they pull that one off? The Haga is now moving towards the top. The team is pushing at the bottom of the map. Yep, he wants to camp here. So Sven is going to steal that. But what about the play at the bottom of the map? If they can get a keep out of this, that would be pretty amazing. And I don't know, but they just might. Tychus is not willing to sacrifice his cooldown yet. There are 2 catapults, 3 catapults on the core. That's pretty bad news 22 minutes into the game. So they have to send somebody back, and it's going to be Falstad. But the keep has been destroyed. So Falstad is going to defend this. There's a little bit more damage done. It's not really a whole lot. 88% on the core now. If they suck, this is always the situation. If in this spot you are able to just prevent Falstad from hearthing, then you're in an amazing situation where all of a sudden, you know, you're getting massive damage against the opponent's core. Yeah, Itrax here is able to get away. Nice save on Blaze. Losing him would have been a huge problem. But the Shrine is activating in 15, and that's going to be the big battle now. And of course, on top of everything else that we've seen, the catapults are still streaming through the top lane. Falstad is going to stay there a little bit longer, but he will have to abandon the top lane defense eventually to try and go for the Punisher. They cannot afford losing this one. If they lose the Frozen Punisher now, this game is over. So Falstad is starting to move in. First catapults will connect at the core at the top. There's also camps in the middle. Yeah, and the blue team takes control for just a little bit longer. Falstad, he's always looking for these flies. Cesabos has been doing some really nice moves with this, and in some of the battles it led directly to kills that allowed them to win the battle. But right now, unsuccessful. They go for Diablo. He's still stacked. Diablo is stacked. Diablo, even if he loses, he will be back. But they're all low at the front. They're all low. Diablo. APOC gets used. He got bullied around and Diablo is dead. Diablo is dead. 34 to 31 stacks right now. They go for Itrax. They want Blaze and Blaze is dead too. They get Brightwing. 38 to 37. They nearly have the Punisher. Can the blue team somehow grab it? And they can! But they lose Falstad, they lose Brightwing, and the only one that escaped is Hanzo. Bronek, the only survivor, and they want to end the game now. There's catapults coming in. They're not bothering anymore with the objective. They're just saying, guys, we are going to be faster here. We're going to move in and we're going to take this bad boy down. Game number 1 is ours. Let's go! Hanzo trying to get the boss, trying to get the Punisher onto the core, but this one is already falling. They're out of time. They just don't have enough. Diablo falls, kill number 14, and this is game the lead for Team Rip against Rospidol. GG.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Game number 2, we are going to Tomb of the Spider Queen, everybody. So we're heading to our second map with Team Rip in the lead. Now, we still have Itrax on the blue team. I honestly don't quite know what's going on with the substitute player situation that they have for themselves right now. They called early that there is a scheduling conflict with one of their main members. Itrax might play out the rest of the series with them. Maybe they're going to swap him out at some point when the other player gets back. I'm not quite sure. Just from here on out, if there is a change, don't be surprised by it. They called ahead early and said, like, guys, we might have some player swaps because we have scheduling conflicts. Now, Chromie gets banned again. Obviously, the 10 heroes that were played on the previous map cannot be played again. Keep that in mind. So that already limits the pool there just slightly. Team Rip with a very solid performance. There was this one fight where they lost a couple of their heroes. All of a sudden, Rospidol was starting to look like maybe they can start a comeback. I think if it happened a bit earlier, there would have been a chance. As is, not so much. Now, they ban out Cho'Gall. Yeah, most of the teams that are dealing in any way, shape, or form with bounties have actually already completed a Cho'Gall bounty. But Cho'Gall is actually quite strong and by a lot of teams gets regularly played here. There were some people that already suggested, Cho'Gall gets played so often, even if they already completed the bounty. It shouldn't be a bounty. And I was like, I don't know, I like a good Cho'Gall game as much as the next guy. So even if he gets played a little bit more right now, I still think this is a pretty fun one. So yeah, the Cho'Gall bounty is gonna stay. It's here to stay, and it's been giving us a lot of fun times. So yeah, very happy with that one. Now, first pick, what are we gonna get here? Tomb of the Spider Queen, a similar situation compared to the previous map. You want to have a lot of wave clear here, more so for the lane control than anything else, and also to pick up some gems as quickly as you can. We got Hogger locked in first for Sven. And the continuous bans again on Medivh. So, also there, no big surprises. The entire Medivh phobia is definitely a thing. Good portal plays are awesome. Very frustrating when you play against them. This is a typical example where it's really difficult to get anything like this going when you're playing a public game because there's just no coordination. But if you have proper coordination with voice and teammates that actually practiced all of this, you can execute so many fun things. I've been talking, especially to amateur teams in the past, a whole lot about easy to execute combos. Variant kill comp, for example, is extremely easy to execute, generally speaking. And then you can advance from variant taunt with follow-up Malfurion or Stukov and burst damage to trying to do the same thing with Murder and Storm Bolts and a follow-up stun and so on and so forth. But you have to also practice these things a little bit, especially, of course, if you're playing in an amateur team environment or you're playing oftentimes as a 5-stack. Garrosh and Anduin. Now, on the other side, we get Stitches and Oriel. So, Stitches mainly played on Tomb and on Towers of Doom. Now we got Krankle, who can, with Garrosh, also ruin a lot of those plays. If Garrosh is close, for example, and if he connects with Stitches when there's a hook and a gorge, he can make sure that they're just not running away with the target. Falstad has, of course, already been played, so he cannot be played again to try and get a gust going to create a bit of space. You have no opportunity to pick Medivh because he's banned, so no kidnap combo. And then on top of that, you have Anduin taken by the opponent, so you can't just like pull the target away either. So, yeah. But, again, with Gul'dan now banned and a little bit more wave clear eliminate. Gul'dan, by the way, great also to isolate the target a bit further because he has Horrify. So that's another solid ban. Brightwing technically could also have been played, of course, with Emerald Wind. We've actually seen this, I believe, in the group stage of the tournament. But for now we get Jaina for burst damage and we have Leo, meaning that you get your Entomb. I can't just like try to drop the Entomb after Stitches gets the Gorge out. Can even just whip the target into the wall with Oriel. And then you have on top of that also Jaina with easy burst damage. Probably Water Elemental. Could go Ring, I guess, with the Entomb together if you really want to go and pull all the registers. But on the red team side, they obviously know what they're up against right now, so they can prepare a little bit accordingly. And we're getting Orphea and Greymane. So, Azzy wants to play Orphea and show Disciple how it's done, apparently. And with Greymane, you got the Bullet against Stitches. We had Gilnean Roulette the other day on 20, and boah. Once that Greymane could just like hammer that out like any other ability, the damage output that he gets, that he accumulates over time, is pretty nasty. Now, final pick for game number 2. What are we gonna get? Team Rip against Rospedol, and our final weapon of choice is Lunara. Game number 2, we are on Tomb of the Spider Queen. On the left side, Stitches, played by Makotzel for the blue team. We got Ether on Leoric, Bala on Oriel, Cesarbos on Lunara, and Bronek on Jaina. Ladies and gentlemen, on the right side, in red, we get Hirath on Greymane, Viciousness on level 1, Vasilisco on Anduin, we got Azzy on Orphea, Sven on Hogger, and Krankle is playing Garrosh. Can't really help myself, but Vasilisco, it always sounds like it's like some advertisement for a new product from Vaseline. That's what it sounds like. So, I don't know, some special loop for whatever. But every single time I see that name, it sounds like that. That hook! Nice! Stitches opening the game up with a bit of a banger here. Not bad. The guy is an insane player on some of these heroes, though. So, yeah, really good performance from him. Definitely looped up, 100%. Now, all the way topside, that's where we're getting the first wave rotation established by the red team. They're definitely way more aggressive right now. With Stitches, you oftentimes, of course, sit a little bit farther back and just wait until the targets come to you after a nasty hook. But they pushed in aggressively to try and dominate the lane rotation and make it a little bit harder for their opponent to match that. So if they then control the lanes, that is working nicely for them. But it's a little bit more tricky than expected. They ate a lot of damage in that last encounter. Now, very safe pathing also from Jaina in a lot of cases. I like it. I mean, in this case, they of course want to go for the camp here, which has basically already been claimed by the red team. They are on it as we speak. Now, down at the bottom of the map, Greymane against Leoric. Yeah, I mean, Leorki, just skin and bones. You should be careful going up against the wolf. He's just going to eat that up. But they had some assistance with Orphea too, and that of course gives them the Siege Giants, so they get both of the camps. Nice little start. If you then have a few more heroes at the bot lane, you can easily also come in and start destroying that wall, which is what they're trying to do. That's why the reinforcements are now kicking in. But Ether, he dropped a little bit low here, didn't he? Got nearly killed. And Azzy is just slapping around as much as he can, and Stitches is of course waiting for a chance to get that hook connected again. Level 4 talents kick in, the Moral Compass, and we got the even-handed blessings. Nobody can tell me that they hear even-handed blessings and they are not thinking about like a priest or something slapping someone. I mean, honestly, if that is not giving you weirdo vibes, then I don't know what is. Nobody can tell me, that's just in my head. That's definitely an association here. So, yeah, Anduin, weird as usual. So, yeah, it's just what it is. Haven't seen a single kill yet. A lot of attempts and a lot of decent hooks and attempted isolation plays here. Talking about those, we might have... Stitch is nice, fine. But for a second, it really looked like he might be in trouble here. If he gets caught by Garrosh and then thrown over, they could have blocked that path here very easily and made it very difficult for Stitches to get out and maybe even take him on. So now they're trying the same thing again, and this time it's going to be the end of him. Yes, that is the end of Stitches and kill number 1 in game number 2. So, turns are slowly happening. We have 10 gems delivered and now 23 with Azzy getting another 13 nearly turned in. Just barely missing out on it. What about Leo, though? Leo, yep, he falls, and that's more gems lost on the blue team. Boah, that hurts. That is not a great start early on. They are losing a decent amount of early game gems to the red team. And now the only question really is, will Team Rip be able to turn in? Because they have a leading experience now with an early level 7 talent. They should be able to pull that off. If they're getting farther ahead on this, then hey, even better. Hoga. Okay, he's fine. Just jumps out here. Dong, 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 dong. And over the way up at the top. Still waiting for Stitches to land that first monster hook that's going to give them a kill. And with level 10, that is of course going to happen a bit more regularly, I guess, once that he can follow it up also with the Gorge. Currently the follow-up is not all that amazing. But yeah, the turn-in should actually happen pretty quickly here. Heroes should honestly turn in. They're trying at the bottom of the map now with Azzy, and there's 2 that are attempting to prevent that. But there's the damage, and Ether is about to fall. That's 6 gems gone that they won't be able to recover. They're kind of baiting them into this, and here comes that move that I talked about earlier, where you're just absolutely body blocking Stitches in the corridor. So now they take him down again. That's kill number 4. And this is actually starting to get real nasty, because now they have so few gems that he can't even get a turn anymore, even if they were able to deliver them. So here comes instead the turn-in of the red team, and that's the first Webweaver wave in this game. There's a 1 level discrepancy between the 2 teams already as is. And, well, if you can now push with Greymane and give him a little bit of cover with the rest of the team, then he can absolutely rip these walls apart. So, yeah, hook. Oh, that on the other hand was... I hate Anduin. It is such a strong ability. The hook on the other side of the wall, and I'm like, can he maybe escape here? Maybe they can try and send somebody around the corner and help him out, and then Anduin comes just in, and the entire play is ruined. If you're Stitches, you must have felt absolutely amazing just landing that hook and being like, hey, maybe this allows us to defend more easily against the Web Weavers. And then Anduin comes in, and that's that. Orphea with a kill against Leoric at the bottom of the map. It doesn't really get any better for the red team. They have now the push through the middle. They are still pushing the bot lane. Yeah, the first push was not able to take a fort out, but they are now 5 kills to 0. They have a 1 level lead, more than that even. And they can still use Greymane at the top. And just look how safely Bronick rotates topside. He has 39 gems, so it's pretty respectable that he actually played it this safe. But he now gets flanked, and they just want the kill here. And they're going to get him. Yeah, they're going to get the kill. 39 gems are just gone. Even if they lost a hero here, they would have been totally fine with it. And it's not only the gems that are lost. On top of that, they can also go for the fort. There is some counterplay at the bottom with the Siege Giant camp that was grabbed by Lunara and by Leoric. But this is a total disaster now. Level 10 is finally in, but as they get level 10, they lost a fort. That bot lane is still standing. And again, the gems are lost. They lost 39 gems a second ago. That's just way too much. So, yeah. They go for the boss at the top. They're gonna get that one too, because nobody has figured that out so far. Technically, the blue team could actually contest this. But they're figuring this out, actually, maybe in time. Oh, okay. They're buying enough time for it. And Garrosh might die because of it, but it seems like he's still gonna be fine. No! No! Stitches! He gets the Aegis. The boss is taken. They're turning it on Stitches. Garrosh is down, but so is Stitches. Stitches there too. They're just exchanging kills. And Hogga wasn't even here. Hogga was not even with them. Hogga was in the middle taking the Knight camp. He was taking the Bruiser camp. So now you have to defend the top lane, but your middle is getting attacked too. We have 7 kills to 1. And likely another 4 to fall. Greymane is just so amazing in a situation like this where you can go into Worgen form straight onto the structures. The damage output is nuts. And then you have on top of that the camp itself, so they can work on the next turn-in. Ether with 27 gems at the bottom of the map. But yeah, it's just nasty. Turn-in after turn-in now. That's 2 turn-ins in a row for Team Rip. They have taken 2 forts out. The next one is going to fall here. They're getting the damage in against Leoric and force him back at the bottom of the map. Khaldor pulled. They go for Stitches. They go for Leorki. And Leoric gets out. Stitches doesn't. Now they're moving in on Jaina. And she is dead too. It's a double kill. 26,000 damage by Orphea. We got 17,000 by Lunara. But this is, of course, a nightmare. Now they're losing so much ground. The gap in experience is widening as we speak. Oh, it's tough. It's really tough. The bottom fort, 100% lost. You can't save that. Walls will be opened up here. And just a reminder, we are only 9 minutes into the game. We're 9 minutes in. So, yeah. They are getting the damage. The wall is slowly getting destroyed. Orphea... Greymane at least... Okay, they kill Greymane. And they're able to take down Garrosh. With Gorge, they're able to take down Garrosh as well. So, 2 kills... Top wall is opened up. Bottom of the map. Yeah, I guess we could also see the wall fall here. I suppose it will. At least part of it. But, okay, it could have been worse. It's already bad enough it is, but it could have been worse. So, right now, any chance to come back. The hook in range increase for Stitches, that's of course a big tool that they now have. So that's good. One of the problems is that once that we have level 16 on the red team, they're gonna get the double pull on Anduin, which makes all of this even worse and also much harder to deal with. But here comes the blue team with their first Red Weaver wave. Finally! Took them 10 minutes, but they have the first objective. So they were able to complete a turn-in. Objective is in, and they have even talents for now. Yeah, that's... Again, that's as good as it gets, Rob. So, once again, here comes the move. Aegis to save Jaina. Bronek in real trouble. Can they get that kill? And indeed they can. So Jaina is gone. That makes the entire pressure play once more super difficult. And the blue team is already slowly falling back and giving up on the aggression. At the top lane, the Web Weaver is going to be taken out too. This is the first objective for them, and it just doesn't accomplish anything. They're not able to do anything with it. And here comes level 16, so Anduin with the double pull now. And are they... Okay, Whip comes out, and that shuts it down. No, they're still getting the kill, aren't they? Stitches! Yes, he gets killed. Yeah, they went for Stitches, and they got the kill. Them chasing kills means, though, that they lose a foot at the bottom of the map. They could have defended this. But, well, this is going to be the end of Ether. And that's 21 gems gone. Oh, boy. Yep. That's 21 gems down the drain. So, they got 1 turn in, and that's essentially all that they got so far. Whereas we have an easy 3rd turn in now for Team Rip. Yeah, we can turn this one in without any problems whatsoever. That's 45 already, 45 already delivered. And I guess it's Hogger that has to turn in. 16 talents aren't ready yet for Rospedol. They can still siege up, posture up a little bit. But yeah, tough times for the blue team. And again, let's not forget, they are already behind 1 game in the series. So instantly the aggression against Leorki, and Leorki is dead for, what now, the 4th time? 5th time. Yeah, the front line is suffering. I mean, both of them dying 5 times. Boss is back up, and they can easily make a play for that. Then again, let's... Okay, turn in. Yeah, they get the turn in. But they might actually try and interrupt that. Stitches was the one that was trying to make the sneaky play. He now gets attacked instead. They go for Anduin, but Stitches is gonna die. Aegis is out, he will fall. There's no freaking way. They didn't go for the kill? Damn. Okay. So, Stitches made it out. So did Lunara. I really think the red team could have followed up with some more damage on this. Now, they still have the web weavers that they can now start to use here. Hogger is pushing the mid lane a bit more aggressively, but of course you want to keep at this point. I mean, at some point you have to be rewarded for all of the objectives that you're getting here. But I thought they could at least take Stitches down, maybe even Lunara, and then make that attack even so much stronger. But Grayman is already on it. That top keep doesn't stand a prayer. That one's gone. Maybe even Stitches. Yes, he's dead too. Stitches is eliminated. Lunara wanted to get the Garrosh kill and couldn't. In the middle, they can technically still try and make a play here as well for yet another keep. At least damage it a little bit. Maybe try and follow that up with a kill as well. They're already looking for Leo, and Leoki is gone. Leoric is gone as well. Anduin saves Garrosh, and that wall in the middle has been completely obliterated. We have level 20 about to kick in for Team Rip. Storm Talons are just around the corner, and they got 53 gems still. They could work on turn in number 4 and also go for the boss at the same time. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They're crushing it. They're absolutely crushing it right now. So with level 20 talents, we get the Hunter's Blunderbuss, Anger Management, and we get the Death Wish for Garrosh. But easy boss, obviously. No turn-in opportunity for the blue team to just turn in gems and then go for an easier defense or anything of the sorts. They can't make that happen. Right now, we have... yeah. The one thing that they haven't done is secure their gems, and I honestly think they should have. At least turn in with Hogger, who has 29. They want to push for core and for the game, which makes sense. But there's Gorge against Ophia. Hodderpult is there. And, well, Ophia is dead. Ophia is dead. Ice Block had to be used. So they are attacking with 4 right now, and they might have to fall back here. But guarding the gems would have been the play. Glorious hook, by the way. If that hook does not connect and they don't get the Ophia kill, this could have been game. But the defense is strong now. They had the numbers advantage, so they were able to defend here. But they need to turn in, at least with Sven. Dude, what are you doing? 33 gems. Turn that shit in. Seriously. Like, why? It was a free turn in. You have 40 gems. It's probably going to be fine, but if you die all of a sudden, imagine him getting hooked. Like, you're up against Stitches. That hook can come out of nowhere. If he gets hooked and gorged and they lose that, yeah, that would be a disaster. But they still have the level 20. Stitches. Yeah. Stitches is going to try. He's going to see if he has an opening here. So, yeah, with 40 gems, he can fully turn in now. And that gives him the Webby Wave. Okay, there we go. The team has probably bullied him in voice the entire time. Finally did it. Damage output, we got 48,000 now for Ophia. The kill earlier was the first death of her. After that hook from Stitches. We got 40,000 damage from Lulnara. Yeah. And I guess they're gonna aim for the keep now. Bambi, the goat! Well, they tried for a second to go for Stitches, I guess. But they got the Web Weaver here. Wow, that minion wave is insta-deleted. Insta-delete, yeah. And now, of course, they would love to... They would love nothing more than also go for the core here. We got level 20 now on both sides. So the Happy Hippo is back. And we got Buried Alive. And Leo! With a big one right there. Gets attacked immediately. The whip is a little bit too late to get the wall stun. The tomb was already gone. But now they go for Stitches! And he's dead. Stitches is gone. They lost Oriel. And now they're losing the rest of the team. And also game number 2. Leorki is down. Jaina is not going to make it either. And that's a 5-man team wipe. 2-0. In the best of 5 series, Team Rip pulled it off on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and Ross Doll loses the second map of the series. GG and well played. Game number 3, Battlefield of Eternity. So, Team Rip is in the lead with a 2-0 and has an opportunity now to close out the series and to move on to the the losers bracket final. Now, if they actually make it into the next round, then it means that they're at a minimum 3rd place. The loser of this series on hand takes 4th place in the tournament. So, right now, with Battlefield, again, this could be our final map in the best of 5. Did I say best of 3 earlier? Actually, not sure. Anyways, like, yeah, it's a best of 5, obviously. So, after that, we still have the loser bracket final and then the grand final. And right now, Chromie banned. The 10 heroes, of course, that were played on the previous map cannot be played again. Team Rip is looking pretty good. Stitch is not a factor anymore, and Battlefield of Eternity is usually a map that sends us a lot more around team fights. I'm curious what the damage dealers are going to be, because we haven't seen Vala in a minute. Vala hasn't been played a whole lot. We had her in the earlier stages of the tournament, Ton, in the Anniversary Cup she was also played quite a bit, but recently in the playoffs she's not even getting a whole lot of play on Battlefield of Eternity. To be fair, there were 1 or 2 games where it was pretty clear that the team wanted to go for Vala and she was just banned out. So now Cho'Gall gets banned. Don't want to deal with him either. 20 heroes have been played and cannot be played again, so they're already out of the pool. Limiting options a little bit, but we still have plenty of really nice damage dealers for Battlefield of Eternity, even though some are clearly gone. I mean, Greymane, for example, played on the last map, but you still have Li Ming around if you wanted to. Hanzo has been played in the series, if I remember correctly. That was map number 1 on Infernal Shrines. So there are a few options that are already gone. Interesting to see Rel as a first pick. I really don't feel that Rel necessarily justifies that high of a priority, especially since the impact that she had so far in the tournament was, I mean, not that insane. So, alright, let's see how much she can do here for them. We got Samuro. And we get ETC. So with ETC you can obviously bully people a bit around the Immortals and particularly stun them into an Immortal stun. So there's definitely a few plays that you can actually make with that as a tool. Then Samuro on the side lane from Sven, always a huge threat. So I don't think that the blue team's going to be too happy about that pick. Even if you win, you feel like you lose. It's very annoying. There are certain heroes when you go up against them and you go up against a player that knows how to play them. Even if you know, okay, we have the better comp, we are most likely going to win this game, you just feel like you're losing. A lot of the annoying heroes are like that. Murky, I don't know, Murky Abyssar. You know you're probably going to win the game, but it's just going to be like, oh my god, why me? So, yeah. Muradin and Degard Kane. So they got their Storm Bolts and can also get some of those stuns out if ETC decides Mosh Pit. Then they have some interrupts as well. We've seen in some of the previous series what can actually happen if you don't have interrupts against Mosh Pit, how quickly they can turn. Uther gets banned. No Divine Shield here. They don't want to have the double support, I suppose? So apparently they're trying to shut down some double support Vala attempt, or what exactly? How am I supposed to interpret the Uther ban, considering that Deckard Cain was already taken? I mean, with another not Stormbolt, with another stun, he can obviously chip a lot in. But were they really planning to do that? And if that's your concern, then why don't you just ban out Vala? Because if you go for a double support, the only 2 heroes that are possible picks are Vala and Zul'jin. For damage, Li Ming still hasn't been locked in. Highly likely, usually, that we get her in Battlefield of Eternity, given that some of the other options are already gone. Vala would be an option still, as I said. Seen a couple of Reyna picks too. Vala. Vala and Malfurion. Alright. Yeah, and a bit of a moment of truth here. Ross Doll, come on boys, you gotta do something. You're 0-2. If you lose, you are 4th place in the tournament, which is still respectable, but definitely not where you want to be. So, what can the blue team now do? What are we getting for damage? Are they gonna go for mage? Gul'dan, no Vala. Vikings? Are they going for a bounty with the longboat? Vikings on Battlefield of Eternity. Okay, maybe longboat Vikings on BOE? And the Panda then on the other side with the triple frontline. Alright, I mean, I'm game, but that was definitely not something that I saw coming. So, BOE everybody. Game number 3, match point number 1. So, we're starting things up with game number 3, and there's a little bit of a change, and it is a disappointing one. They dropped at the end of the draft, and during the chat, they immediately called out that they didn't want to pick Vikings. They misclicked. They wanted to take Reyna, and they said this right when they chose the hero. So that's why the draft towards the end was dropped, and then they swapped it around. No problem, obviously. They announced it as it happened. So we don't get the Vikings. We have Jimmy instead, which makes way more sense as a choice. Ether on Urel. We got Bronick on Gul'dan. Makotzel is playing Mirrodin, we got Cesabos on Jimmy, and we got Balor on Deckard Cain. On the right side for Team Rip with the 2-0 lead in the series, we got Vasilisco on Malfurion, one of his favorites. Sven on Samoro, Crankle on ETC, Hireth is playing Chen, and Azzy is playing the Arrow Vala. Also, when it comes to Jimmy, we finally get Ace in the hole. I honestly don't understand why so many Jimmy players that we get recently are actually coming in and are talking about going straight into stacks again, because that's usually not something that really helps you if you compare it to Ace in the Hole. Ace in the Hole obviously expects that you have stuns and slows around, but that 12% more damage is just way more reliable and available from the get-go. So yeah, this is something that we should see more when Jimmy gets picked. But he's obviously a bit of a niche pick either way, and one of the reasons is because he's vulnerable. And he got killed immediately. Now, we have with Vasilisco again Malfurion, and I'll highlight this once more because Vasilisco's Malfurion is absolutely monstrous. The guy is fantastic on that hero. On top of that, we have also Sven on Samuro, another really, really strong pick for them. It would have been kind of fun to see Vikings on this map, I gotta say. But when I saw that pick, I was so confused. I was looking at it, I was like, what are they gonna try and do? And I was desperately attempting to find some kind of justification for it. I was like, longboat bounty, teamfight, what? But yeah, it makes way more sense that they were trying to get a hero into play that is good at immortal damage. But it's not a great start for the blue team. Perfect follow-up again from Malfurion. They got the body block on, on him too, and whoa, that's nearly a kill on Jimmy. So that arrow nearly took him out. That brings us to 3 kills to 0, several camps already taken, and lots of momentum for Team Rip again. And here comes the follow-up with a root, and Gul'dan is dead. So not only do we get a solid amount of early game arrow stacks for Vala, she's already sitting at 9 stacks 2 minutes in, but we are already getting kills, a leading experience, and just overall a huge amount of momentum for the red team. So they are going to be extremely happy with how this is playing out so far. Fat Illidan at the top, by the way, played with the War Master skin, also the black and white tint, which is the best tint. We decided, like, again, the decision was made by me. It is the best tint. If you go for any other color variation there, it is, I mean, again, B for effort. You didn't really try, because it's quite obvious which one looks the best, and in case there was any confusion, it's this one. So, by far. Not even a discussion. I took a vote, and it was anonymous. Now, 4 kills to 0. First objective is up, and Vala is already firing away. 15 stacks right now for Vala. So with repeating arrow, she immediately was able to get good stacks in. Honestly, arrow Vala in especially like duels is insanely strong. They get a kill against her, and they really need to take her down a notch or two. Because if Vala is able to keep that stacking progress up, then the blue team is going to get ripped apart by her alone. But now they're getting a kill on ETC, they're taking Vala out, they're getting the 3rd kill. Finally! Thank God, look at that. That's how you fight back. Rospier Doll. Napir Dalai, baby. Let's go! Take them down. Fighting spirit. It was about time. Yep, they're able to get a bit of value into this. And the red team, after it already looked early on like they would just walk away with that, they finally have to actually work for it. So, yep, good for them. Now, Vala is already starting to get some immortal damage in, but they lost the halftime show without even getting any damage connected. So now it's gonna get difficult for them to... oh, immortal stun connecting? Team, hello? Boss might have a problem here. Yeah, they clearly want him also more in a team fight situation and simply focus on the immortal, or they would have gone for another level 1 talent. But they are trying to buy themselves a little bit of time for Vala to get the objective at least low. And she does a great amount of work. Has Monster Hunter now too. It just kicked in slightly too late to give them a bigger edge on the first objective. So what we now have... oh, but they get the kill on Ether. Yeah, Vala with the arrow connects those hard. So they burned down the Immortal nicely. That means they should be able to defend without too many problems. The lead in the experience is still established here. And as I said before, even with the death of her in one of the situations, we now have Vala with 18 stacks on her level 1. And that is pretty damn good for 5 minutes in the game. This is really good. So if she can keep that pace up a little bit more in the next fights until we get the next objective, she should be destroying the second Immortal. So this is a real threat for Rospier Doll. And it doesn't get helped by the fact that they're now losing more of their heroes down at the bottom of the map. So, yep, that's Gul'dan gone. And that is maybe even the end. Yes, it is the end of Jimmy. Jimmy is dead too. Vala is alone against Urel at the top. Needs to be a little bit careful with potential arrow plays, but has 20 stacks now. Would probably prefer to have some fun at the bot lane. But with Samuro now moving in, she could actually swap out and return down to the bottom of the map instead. 8 kills to 3. And, well, with them going for Ether, 30 hit points and Urel gets out. Yep, Vala now with 22 stacks. What's her damage actually like? She's at 23,000. Compare that to anyone else in the game right now. The damage output of Vala is on a totally different level. 23k, and the closest opponent that she has is Jimmy with 16,000. Strafe on level 10. You get the top shelf, top keg plays from Chen. Fat Illidan with the barrel. And, of course, the Illusion Master for Samuro. So, Chen is already working the bot lane. Seems like, yeah, okay, he gets out. Stormbolt shuts down Vala, but they still got the kill on Jimmy. If not for Muradin Stormbolt, I suppose Gul'dan would have probably fallen too. But they did that quite well. Muradin interrupting Strafe. That, yeah, it could have been a second kill. So instead, what we're now getting is Chen already attempting to help out with all of this a little bit. Vala has now 25 stacks and is making her way over towards the newly spawned Immortal. And as I said before, look how quickly she burns that down. This isn't even funny. They have a level 10 edge, and now they have Vala with 25 stacks on the second objective, just melting this thing into the ground in seconds. Absolutely crazy. There's nothing that the blue team can really do here. It's going to be a massive shield. Level 10 is available for Rospier Doll, but there come the final few arrows. ETC is going to slide out without falling. One more arrow is all that Vala needs, and well, that's the Immortal. It's 100% shield on the Immortal. If they now get kills too, if they somehow are able to take a few of the blue team's heroes out, imagine the disaster. So Chen jumps in. Vala again with Strafe, gets some good damage out, zones them. Also, they're rooting Urel, and she pops the ult, gets the ult connected, and is able to get out thanks to that. But ETC is already at the top lane, and of course, with the Immortal, this one is gonna get eliminated within seconds. Another couple of arrows connects with Urel, who just eats damage. Just crazy. Vala is now at 31 stacks already. Connects another 2 and burns Muradin into the ground. 33 stacks for Vala, and the pain just continues. She's gonna get a few more here as well against Jimmy. She's at 35. It's insane. She just kills everything. Vala is at 43,000 damage right now. 43,000. She's doubling the damage of the next guy on her team and is way ahead of anyone else on the blue team side. We're 9 minutes into the game and they're destroying the keep at the top. She finally gets killed, but it's just nuts. Gul'dan is down too, so they even got a counter kill after she falls. But the keep is destroyed, the fort is gone. They can maybe even rotate down towards the bottom of the map and do a bit more damage there. And with 37 stacks already, she is a menace. An absolute menace. So, fantastic game for Team Rip. At least up to now. Rospiedol needs a bit of a miracle here. A good Horrify into a Decade ult. I don't know, something. They need any kind of momentum that they can build up. They're also falling, of course, behind in experience by quite a bit. There's the Keck play again. The root on the ground immediately. Vala is getting more stacks together. They have them all in the corner, and that's a double kill. Decade Kane is gone. Jimmy is gone as well. And comes the stage dive. They try for Urel once more, but they shift the target towards Gul'dan, and he's now gone as well. Vala is, of course, using all of these opportunities to get even more stacks on her arrow. The next objective, the Immortal, is already thinking about what he can do to hide from her, because she's just going to stare him into the ground, going full Smexy style on this. And I think currently the blue team is just praying for the electricity to drop on every single player of the red team. Because this is one of the few ways how I can still see this game going the way of Rospiedol. Currently, yeah. Currently there's not a lot that they have going for themselves. And level 16 is coming up next. So they already have a talent advantage, 13 against 10. And they're going to have the talent advantage even when the blue team picks up their own level 13 talent, because it's only going to take a couple of seconds after that until the red team gets level 16. So, yeah. The Immortal is now up, and Vala is going to have a fun one on this. 42 stacks already, and yep, while the red team hasn't even touched the opponent's Immortal yet, Vala has nearly locked in the halftime shot. They go for the fight, but the Horrify on point. Nice, they get a kill. Alrighty, but the counter kill. They lose Muradin instantly. Yeah, Vala now at 44. She has even gone into Seething Hatred here. And I mean, again, why wouldn't you in a situation like this? The damage output boosted even more. Gul'dan is now gone. Top side has to be dealt with too, because there's catapults. There's the camp coming in. And it's going to be another 100% shield on the Immortal. There's nobody even trying to do damage against the red team's objective. So, yeah, this is going to be an easy one. And good luck trying to defend this. A nightmare. An absolute nightmare for Rospiedol. Vala, though... Okay, she's going to get away here. She's going to get away here. Yep. And they were trying to get hit on her. But no. So they were trying to force the fight past the objective. They're going up against level 16. But now it seems like... Decade Kane. He's still alive. He somehow made it. Somehow he made it. But Jimmy is gone. Jimmy is dead. Now they're going with a slide for Urel. She pops the ult again. And Decade Kane is about to get eliminated too, at least if they really want him. Sven is looking like he's trying to follow up on this. They're already jumping over, trying to take out a few remaining defenders here with another power slide. They're teeing things up initially. The Immortal is moving through the bottom of the map. Decade Kane isn't here. He's still chased by Samuro, as we have Urel eliminated by the Panda. And even with Balor not dying right now, he's also not helping. He's completely out of this. So he can't help the team whatsoever. Muradin is the only survivor at this point that can maybe do something in the base defense. Okay, Jimmy's now back too. But this seems like it could be an easy 3-0 here. We have 22 kills, 2-5. And, well, congratulations to Team Rip, I suppose. A solid series for them. Exceptionally well played. And they are going to move on to the losers bracket final. Nicely done. Rospiedol drops out of the tournament, takes 4th place. Great job by the red team. GG and well played.